Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Revolano Shorty, and today I'm going to be reviewing possibly the biggest kind of release of the week, Void Rivals. And I am not going to be able to review this one without talking about some spoilers. So, actually, I could probably talk about one of them really easy, though I might be a bit less able to. But you know what I'm going to do? Because I'm going to spoil one of the things in here which has probably already been spoiled for you, but I'm going to mention spoilers in case. I'm going to use that as a license to also talk about the second spoiler. Simply because how these are presented is instrumental to my enjoyment of this comic book. And I don't think I can really get across how they affect that enjoyment without telling you exactly what they are. So, if you have not read Void Rivals, if you're planning on reading Void Rivals, if you haven't even heard of Void Rivals and were looking for a nice surprise, then this review is probably one to come back to once you've read it. Because I am 100% going to tell you some things that happen on the page. I don't usually do this. Usually I'm quite happy to talk about art and stylistic choices and writing, but at this point, it really does matter. Like, it's fundamental parts of the story experience. So, you've now been thoroughly warned. We're a minute into it. If you're still watching, I'm going to assume you're okay with it. It's a Transformers comic book. That's the big one. That's like spoiler number one. Okay. But it's not just a Transformers comic book. It was released in a way which, I think it last weekend, Bleeding Cool got the scoop to say it was going to be the Transformers comic book. But Image were really pushing it. And it ended up being like a really big overloaded one, and it's Kirkman, Robert Kirkman. He's like a really famous writer, but in my little store, there's only one person who really likes Kirkman. Everyone else who buys his stuff buys The Walking Dead, and they are not comic book fans. And I'm not saying this to be like a gatekeeper, or I'm not trying to be derogatory, I'm not judging them for not being comic book fans, but the people who mostly come in here to buy The Walking Dead come in because they've seen a TV show and want to read the comic book it's based on. Most of them do not carry on with the series. Some of them might go up to volume 3. Some of them might buy like the big deluxe omnibus editions. But they don't come in and buy other comic books. He's not that guy in this store. More people care about Al Ewing than they do Robert Kirkman. So I only ordered one copy. And I've got two things of it because I ordered one copy and then did it at a different order code. I thought I hadn't ordered it, so I ordered it again. That's why I have one spare and that's it. Because when it was announced as Transformers comic book, all of a sudden everyone wanted it. And I have way more Transformers fans in my store than I do Kirkman fans. So I've been trying to find them on eBay where I'm not going to have to pay a fortune for them, just so I've got them in case people want them, and yeah, it's not ideal. But the story of this comic book with the Transformers in it is not about Transformers. It's a story of two disparate, I want to say interplanetary species engaged in a long, brutal war with each other. Two of these individuals, one from either side, due to science MacGuffin reasons, find themselves on a planetoid. Both of their ships have been not destroyed, but disabled to the point that they can't leave on their own ship, and it becomes this reason why they have to work together to basically take bits from each ship together, throw them into a thing, and actually make a ship that works. Throughout this, we find out that these races have hated each other for a very long time. Even talking to each other is heresy. Helping each other would get you murdered by your own people. Even telling each other their names would be the worst possible thing you could do. They are like so much enmity towards each other that they can't even conceive of anything other than hostility. And once they're doing all this, they find a transformer. And they get some power into this thing. It pops back to life, goes, oh my god, I've been here for a very long time. Look at the wind damage to my outer casing. I must go back to Cybertron. Bye! Thus begins and ends the Transformers moment of this comic book. It is about as surprising, as engaging as a fart in a bath. It doesn't really do anything, but it's there as a Transformers thing. Now, the other big spoiler, I think you've already figured this one out. I certainly did. I figured this one out like a handful of pages. These two people hate each other, who simply refuse to work together, who gradually, over the course of several days, do find out ways to put aside their enmity. Eventually, you're not getting blues yet. Yeah, they're wearing full face masks, right? So they never actually see each other, because even seeing each other again would be the terrible heresy thing in the world. But they take their masks off, right? And it turns out underneath the mask, they're the same kind of people. They're both humanoids with the same colour skin, got slightly different facial jewellery. Yeah, huge surprise. I'm sure you're all absolutely amazed by that one. I'm going to upgrade my fart in a bath to following through a little bit at that point, because I was just like, what the hell is the point of that? Now, I have dumped on this comic book. It is just, I don't like the way it was released, probably because I could have sold a lot more of it after it was Transformers and I'd have ordered it all in, but also it just, the story beats weren't great, the world building was kind of wasted on a very futile twist at the end. But I am going to give it some credit. First off, Lorenzo De Felici, the artist, is spectacular. They do so many cool things in terms of framing and nonverbal communication. Really nice moments of the world, and the Transformer does look absolutely spectacular. And to give Kirkman his due, although his story isn't great, the writing inside of it is really good. There's some really good humour to be got from there. There's some fantastic dialogue between the characters, and I actually ended up liking everyone in there. Even the Transformer was kind of cool because they were written well. It is such a weird thing to take a very, very badly conceived story idea and write it really well. I am very much on the fence with this one. I am simply hoping that when Daniel Warren Johnson takes over doing actual Transformers thing when it comes out, that might be great, because I really like Daniel Warren Johnson. I'm hoping him doing a Transformers thing might really get people paying attention to them more than doing Eldritch Horror and heavy metal and Japanese pro wrestling. So yeah, if you found Avoid Rivals, go and give it a read. If you're a Transformers fan, there's a Transformer in there. But other than that, I can't give it a very high recommendation, I'm afraid. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!